Hello and welcome to the Matthew Alton Art channel again. And you can see that I'm doing a slightly bigger painting than I have been doing of late for this time-lapse video. I've been doing a lot of ACEO work recently and I've done some of the videos for those. But this is a slightly bigger painting, as you can see. It's a gouache painting. It's a subject that I return to every year, which is horse chestnuts. I just find them really good to look at. They've got lots of different textures in them, lots of different colours, vibrant colours, and I really enjoy painting them. So this is this year's 2025's attempt at some horse chestnuts. Never painted them in gouache before. You can see that I'm using brown paper, as I often do with gouache. It helps me sort of get the tonal values right from the beginning. You can see I'm starting to do that anyway by putting some of the darkest darks on, which is the actual horse chestnut in the shells on the right, and then I'm putting the white flesh of the inside of a shell on the left. So having those two opposite ends of the spectrum will help me to balance the painting as I go forwards. You can see that I'm using Derwent water-filled brushes again. This was actually painted in 2 sessions. I began it while I was on holiday up near the Lake District in a shepherd's hut that I go to quite frequently. Those of you that follow the channel will know that it's a regular sort of retreat for me. Didn't finish it while I was up there, but I've finished it this week. It was actually started as one of the paintings from the last challenge that I set myself, which I didn't actually complete. I failed on that challenge. I was hoping to do 2 or 3 pieces every week for October, but it turned out to be quite a bad month, so I didn't do that. But this one was one of those, and it's now been finished. You can see that I drew out the positioning of the conkers. I didn't paint them from life. I collected some conkers and did some photos of them with the right lighting and the right positioning. And of course, once you've got the photograph, you can paint the actual painting whenever you want to. I did quite a few arrangements of them, so there'll probably be some more of these paintings appear at some point over the year. Using the finest brush that I've got here, the Derwent brush, they're nylon bristles, and they come to a really good point, so you can do some quite fine work. The whole painting over the 2 sessions took about 2 hours to complete. Thereabouts. As this painting has turned out okay, I think I'm going to submit it as one of my pieces for the Royal Birmingham Society of Artists Friends exhibition. The deadline for that is soon, middle of November. So it's probably going to be one of the pieces that I submit for that. Don't know if it'll get in or not. I've never had anything put in the RBSA for any of the exhibitions, but have to try. I joined the RBSA as a friend just to be able to enter this exhibition, really. You might be able to see in this video, like you have on many of the other gouache videos that I've done, it's quite a peculiar medium to use, really, in that when you put whites on, for instance, they dry darker, and when you put darker paint on, it dries lighter. So it takes quite a lot of practice over quite a lot of work to get used to what it's going to end up like once it actually dries. Just putting the outside flesh colour, shell colour on there. Obviously that will change over time. It's just a base to cover the brown paper with, really. I'm just beginning by putting some shadow underneath. The light's coming from the top left of this painting. It's just the underpainting of the shadow. That's changed in the next sitting. It becomes a bit more filled in. The paper colour is quite close to the card that I had these laid on when I photographed them. So I'm just putting some texture on the paper, really, with very watered down paint, as well as the shadows. And that was the end of session 1 that I did in the shepherd's hut. And this is me back home doing the final stages of this painting. About another hour's work on it. Working on the chestnut here, and it's quite a difficult thing to do, actually, in that those of you that know gouache will know it's quite a non-shiny, dull surface when it's finished. So trying to get a shiny highlight on the chestnut is quite interesting with these paints, really. I think I managed to do it overall at the end. You can see me putting the highlight on. I'm doing it in very tiny brush strokes with gaps showing through, especially towards the edges of the main highlight, because of course although smooth, the chestnut isn't absolutely smooth. It's quite bobbly when you look at it close to, and it's those the texture that's showing up by adding the highlight in that way. There's even some reflection there that I'm just putting on from the card, reflecting from the light, hitting the card and back up onto the chestnut around the edges. Be interested to hear from other gouache users, if there's any people that paint with gouache. They've got any tips for me? I've become quite a fan of the medium, really, as I've practiced with it over the last year and a half, probably 2 years. It's sort of a happy medium between oil paints and watercolours for me. It's obviously like watercolours in that you can mix water with it to thin it, and you can sort of use it very thinly, like I have, just to give a texture to the card on the background here. And as I'm doing now, I'm adding some brown to those quite bluey grey shadows that I added in the first session. But you can also use it very opaquely, so a bit thicker, sort of like single cream consistency, I would say, to paint over the top of colours, which of course you can't do in watercolours. So you can correct mistakes with gouache, which you can't really with watercolour. It's of course very much more portable than oil paints as well if you're working outside. And in fact, I've said before in the videos, I have squeezed the tubes out into a watercolour palette, into sort of pans in the watercolour palette, and I just let those dry out when I've finished a painting. So it's just, you take the palette with you. You don't need any of the tubes of paint, provided you've got enough of all the colours in the pans, obviously. And you can reactivate those dried paints with just a water spray bottle, a tiny water spray bottle, which I've got from sort of glasses cleaning fluid. And of course the water-filled pens mean that you don't even have to take any extra water with you at all. So you could just take a small pad, the palette, and that's it really with your brushes. So it's quite a portable medium for working outside. I'm not very good at working outside. I've had a go at plein air painting quite a few times over the last few years, to varying degrees of success, but I keep trying, and I am sort of getting there and more comfortable with it, partly because of the ease of carrying the gouache paints that I've been mainly doing the plein air work in. I'd highly recommend people to have a go at it if they haven't used gouache really. Takes some getting used to, but I think once you master it, it's quite a forgiving medium in a way. Struggling a little bit here to get the lumps on the external side of the shell on this particular shell. Do get there eventually, but it takes me a little bit of to and fro. And again, because I'm using gouache, I can actually do that. I can correct it as I go. Well, I don't know what happened to the end of the video there. It didn't quite record right to the end, but this is the finished painting. Overall, I'm really quite pleased with it. I think it's turned out quite well. It's quite small. It's probably 15 by 13 centimeters, something like that. So small work, which is what I'm used to doing, of course, but I've been doing very small work recently with the ACO stuff, but it was nice to be working on something slightly bigger. Well, if you got to the end of the video, thank you for watching. Thanks for your time. I will be doing more videos as always, so if you haven't subscribed, then do click the subscribe button and you'll be notified when I do new videos. If you've got any comments about the video, then do write them. I will reply to them all. I tend not to get too many comments, unfortunately, on the videos, but it'd be nice to hear from you. And also, if you've got any tips for me or suggestions as to how I might use gouache differently, you may use it in a very different way if you're an artist. Right, well, thanks very much. I will see you on the next one. Bye.